Hello. So I'm just going to make this little short video today to talk a little bit about the year, the MAM 13 Ir, which we are about to go into. Now, as you can imagine, we have two very powerful characteristics here. First, we have Ir, which is known as a powerful Nawal. And we have the number 13. So not only is it a powerful Nawal, it's sort of turned up as high as it can go. Now, Ik, of course, can represent the breath of life. Ik can represent the voice. It can represent communication. It can represent our words and the words of others as well. And when we see it connected with 13, we can think of that as the connection to the ancestors, also the connection to spirit. So, kind of like there is the potential for the words, for the counsel of spirit, the counsel of the ancestors to be accessible, both on the day 13 Ir and perhaps through this 13 Ir year that we're about to move into. So, the other side of 13 Ir is that it can represent the hurricane. It is the strongest wind of all, as it were. And of course, when the hurricane comes through, it can cause upset, it can cause a lot of change. It can be quite destructive in its way as well. So I think this is personally a year to really hold on to our hats, as it were, because the wind may be blowing very strong. There may be a lot of change, there may be a lot of disruption, a lot of unforeseen changes which come in. This is kind of like the thing with the wind. We never know when it's going to pick up, we never know when it's going to change. And so, kind of course, with everything that I do is never to be a fearful thing or anything like that. It's just to be prepared for it. It's kind of like maybe there's going to be a time to batten down the hatches, as it were, to get prepared for sudden change. If sudden change happens, are we ready for it? Are we ready for things to blow in or blow out the way that we might least expect it? So, kind of like to be on that footing where we're kind of like, right, okay, we made sure that we've, let's say, tidied up all the loose stuff in our yard so that it doesn't become something challenging when the wind starts to blow. And so there's a sort of a certain element of preparedness that should be looked into as this year comes into its power. Now, it should hit its full power certainly around about June of the year. That's where we can see what you'll see from my post about 13 each year, is that's where we could see perhaps the strength of the year, kind of like really finding its feet. And so, particularly around that time, make sure that we're well anchored, well grounded, perhaps really refer to the voice of the ancestors, refer to the voice of spirit before we react, because again, with the 13th year, maybe our words might come out too powerful. And when our words come out powerfully, sometimes they create situations that we can't rectify, or it would be challenging to rectify. So be aware of our words. I mean, we should always be aware of our words and what they carry with them. But perhaps in this year, it's something that we need to kind of like almost have as a morning mantra, as, recognizing how we are using our voices, the strength, the power that comes through our voices, and whether that's truly representative of what we wish to convey or whether it may cause damage. So definitely, take a breath before we react, as it were. Now, the other thing that I like to do, because thinking of time as being cyclic rather than circular or rather than linear, is to think, right, okay, well, when did we last have a 13 Ik year? And the last time would have been 1973. Now, we have to remember that in 1973, that year would have began, I think it's 1st of March or so, or 3rd of March, somewhere around about there. So, we can't really necessarily look at January, February, or the events of January, February of 73 to give an accurate representation of what a 13 year might look like. But we could possibly look at, for instance, the events from March of 73 through to March of 74 as, okay, that was what was going on. So if we look back in history, if we look back in the records, the two things that pop out for me that happened during that year were the oil embargo that caused an energy crisis, and the Watergate hearings, which I think is, kind of like, again, it was a big thing internationally, not just, kind of for the US, but internationally, I think, in that year. So, maybe those themes will be echoed in a 13 year. As I say, it's not circular time. It's not like they're repeated directly, but perhaps that's an echo of a theme that goes through that year. So maybe something to look out for, kind of like through this year. So I hope that this helps you to set your intention, to remember to stay grounded through all the changes, to remember to, let's say, tap into the voice of the ancestors or the voice of spirit. Make sure that your connection is open, although saying that, when it's a 13 year, that voice may come through loud and clear anyway. And ask perhaps for that guidance to help you to adjust to the changes as they happen throughout the 13 year. So I hope this has been useful for you. And, well, I'll make another video tomorrow for the Trecena of Achabal, which will begin almost on the first day of the new year as it comes in. Thank you.